Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is going to be another classic movie review for you guys, and this time I'm going to be reviewing to you the final movie that I have to review that has to do with Stanley Kubrick. I wanted to review at least four of his four most famous movies this year. There's one more I wanted to see, but I'm probably just going to see it next year. Honestly, I really just want to see it next year. But this movie has been credited as one of the best movies of all time. I've heard so many people say it's an amazing movie. It's also been credited as the best sci-fi movie of all time, and I was really, really looking forward to it, especially from all that high praise. I was like, wow, this is really high praise. I mean, I didn't know the movie was as popular as it was, and that movie that I'm going to be reviewing to you guys is none other than the 1968 sci-fi classic 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, let's talk a little about 2001. I was really looking forward to this movie, obviously. Again, I had this 3-pack, and the last one, I told myself, the last one I'm watching is 2001, because that's his most famous movie. It's been credited as Stanley Kubrick's most famous movie of all time, and, it's been credited as one of the best movies of all time. So, I just finished watching 2001: Space Odyssey, and overall, what did I think of 2001: Space Odyssey? 2001: Space Odyssey is a really good movie. It definitely is a classic. It is not a masterpiece by any means. I do not think it is a masterpiece. However, it was a very good movie. However, in my opinion, it's a little bit overrated and a little boring at times, but overall, I did really enjoy it. No, it is not better than The Clockwork Orange. Not at all. Not as good as A Clockwork Orange. Clockwork Orange is a lot better, but it still was a very good movie. Now, let's talk about the plot of 2001: Space Odyssey. The plot of 2001: Space Odyssey is pretty simple, actually. Basically, the film is divided into 4 major sections, and I don't know if it's a spoiler, but basically, I might talk, the beginning of the movie actually might be a big spoiler, but basically, the beginning of the movie, it's kind of about, the dawn of men, and we see these people on, these people on a spaceship. And basically, what happens is they are, in the first act, we see them, the whole movie's about them, going on their voyage to Jupiter to board the spacecraft Discovery 1, and they end up finding this, computer called Hal, who has full control over their spacecraft. He controls everything. He's this evil computer. I mean, he is a bitch for a computer. And that's basically what the movie's about. If I talk about anything else in the movie, it's going to spoil the movie for you guys. It's a very hard movie to explain the plot to you, in my opinion. It is not an easy movie to explain the plot to you, but that's pretty much the plot of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, let's talk about some of the things I really liked about this movie. First of all, this movie has really, really good acting. I mean, this is not really a movie that has acting in the sense that it's like really, oh my god, top-notch acting. The acting is not the best part of this movie. No, the movie is not really remembered for the acting. I'll talk about what the movie's really remembered for. Don't get me wrong, the acting is very good in this movie. Is it as good as this movie? No. This movie has the best acting from any Stanley Kubrick movie, in my personal opinion. However, this movie still has very good acting. Mainly, I'm just going to talk about 2 people, because they're the only really people that I can talk about. There were other characters, but our main star here is Keir Dullea. I don't know what else he did, but he plays David Bowman, and he was definitely very, very good in the movie. Very interesting character. Definitely thought he did a very good performance, especially in the second half of the movie, after the movie came back from its intermission. Really good performance. Really, really thrilling, actually. I mean, really, in the second half, really thrilling. I was really into, his acting in the second half of the movie. Like, there's this one scene that you're on the edge of your seat. It was so well done, and I thought they did such a great job with that, definitely. And the only person I'm going to talk about is Douglas Rain as Hal. By far steals the show. Steals the show, in my opinion. The voice of Hal, he steals the show. If that makes any sense, I mean, I know what you're thinking, it's a computer, but he steals the show, in my opinion, because he's, like, such a memorable character. The second you're gonna see him, you're gonna be freaked out. I saw him, I'm like, that's the creepiest thing ever. It really is. Hal is one of the creepiest things. I mean, it's really creepy, the way he talks, like, just the way you never knew what Hal was going to do. Hal basically is one of those computers that has a mind of its own. He had a mind of its own, and Hal did, and I'm gonna say he because it pretty much was a he. It had a personality, so I can say he instead of it. But Hal was basically this computer that had a mind of his own. It was really interesting to see him, mess with Dave, and it was just really cool how far he was willing to go. I mean, really, Hal in the movie definitely steals the show. Definitely a really good job from him, and I just thought he did the guy that played Hal definitely did a very good job. One of the most memorable characters in Stanley Kubrick history, and in movie history. He's definitely the most memorable thing about this movie. Well, not the most memorable thing. We'll get to that when we get to the analysis. But let's get to the directing. The director in this movie is Stanley Kubrick, who is probably my third favorite director. I think he's a very good director. But this movie, he definitely did a fantastic job in this movie. This was actually his first, huge movie. I mean, he did other movies besides this. He did Lolita, he did Spartacus, but in terms of, big movies everyone remembers, this was his first one. He really wanted to make a huge movie, and he just directed this movie in a fantastic way. I mean, the way he directed the movie, his style is not a style that I don't think any director has used, and that's one of the coolest things about Stanley Kubrick, is just his style is very, very cool, very interesting. I mean, after this movie, I was just like, what is this guy on? Seriously, he made so many movies that, makes me feel like I'm on drugs. There's a scene in this movie, I'm not kidding, this movie made me feel like I was on drugs. Clockwork Orange did, Shining did, Full Metal Jacket did. Every single movie this guy makes you feel like you're high. I don't know why. But I don't know if Stanley Kubrick was high when he made his movie, but he shouldn't. If he was, then I guess he had if he had any drug, it was the drug of masterful directing. That was the drug he took. He took the drug of masterful, unique directing, so that's the only good drug in my book, but, he definitely did a very good job with this movie. I thought he, very well directed this movie. He directed the movie very, very well, and he was very good directing the movie. The editing of the movie, very, very good in my opinion. A little bit long, in my opinion. I felt like the movie could have been trimmed down a little bit. When the movie first came out, it was 160-something minutes, and they trimmed it down to 145 minutes. I don't know what they took out, really. And I have no idea what they took out, because there's nowhere you can see the original version, because they just took it out, I guess, because that was, I don't know, they just trimmed it. But I will say the movie's a little bit longer. That needs to be 120 minutes, 120-something minutes, I think it needs to be, not 140-something. Now, part of the reason why it's that so long is because it has overtures. Every time the screen cuts to black, there's a 2-minute overture. I thought that was a cool way of doing it. Let's talk about the best part of this movie. The effects and the score. Oh my god, the score in this movie is one of the most memorable scores. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, that part right there, that was yes, this is epic. That's the one part in the movie where I'm like, okay, this is amazingly fucking epic, and I was just so into. Every time I played that score, I'm like, that's the perfect time to play that score. I mean, the score, as I said, is probably the most memorable score I've ever heard in a movie, and probably my favorite movie score of all time. I mean, seriously, such a great movie score, such a memorable movie score. It's one of the best parts of this movie is the score. The cinematography in this movie, I gotta give it up to cinematography. This movie was released in 1968. 1968! And the effects look like this movie was made yesterday. It really does. This movie looks like it was made yesterday because of how good the effects are. For 1968, these effects are mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. That's why this movie is remembered so much, because the effects are mind-blowing. I mean, seriously. I've never seen better effects in a 1960 movie than I have in this movie. Seriously. For 1968. It blows my mind that's in 1968, because they didn't even have computers then. Computers didn't start coming out to the 1970s. So obviously, I don't know how they did this, but the effects were were so practical and so well done. I mean, seriously, such good effects here. One of the best parts of the movie, the most memorable part of the movie, in my opinion, were the effects. So, so good. And the cinematography was gorgeous in this movie. Gorgeous. The cinematography was awesome. All the scenes where you see, the space, the spacecraft, it's really, really, I mean, the spaceship, really, really well done. The first, 15 minutes of this movie is apes. And I'll explain why when we get to the analysis, but the scenes with the apes, even that was really good cinematography. I mean, throughout the whole movie, I'm like, this is amazing cinematography. Really, it is. My only complaint with the movie, let's get to my only complaint with the movie. The first, I'd say, hour of this movie I was not into it. I really wasn't. I honestly was just like, this movie's boring. It's really overrated. Second half of the movie, after the intermission, I'm like, okay, this movie's a lot better than I thought it was. It's better now, and I really enjoyed it. Once we got to that, to like 2 hours into the movie, or like I'd say like 50 minutes into the, an hour 50. That's when the movie started to get really good for me. I really enjoyed it after that, and after that, I really liked the movie a lot more than I liked it before. Definitely, I thought that was great. This movie, is there anything else to say? In terms of awards, I don't know how many awards this movie got. Let me see if it won any awards. I know a Stanley Kubrick movie has never won Best Picture, and that's perfectly understandable, because his movies are kind of just too weird to be awarded. However, they did get some awards. This movie got nominated for Best Visual Effects. It won Best Visual Effects, and my god, does it deserve that. I mean, as I said, these are some of the best effects I've ever seen. So now let's get to my analysis of this movie. If you guys have not seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, major spoilers ahead, just major spoilers. This right here, this cover, this is a spoiler. Why did you put this on the cover? This is a spoiler. Seriously, it's a spoiler. Don't put that on the cover. And we'll get to how it's a spoiler. But if you guys have not seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, do not watch Justice Review. After you've seen it, come back and then watch Justice Review. Alright. Let's talk about the biggest thing in the movie. The best part of the movie for me was the ending of the movie. The ending was so well done, in my opinion. Now, let's talk about how this movie is really set in 2001 BC. Not 2001, 21st century. Now, when I first heard 2001: Space Odyssey, I thought, okay, the movie's set in the 21st century. No, it's set in 2001 BC, because think about it. In the very beginning of the movie, you see all these apes, right? You see these apes, and there's like this black thing that approaches them. The first time you see humans is up in space. They're on a planet, and it looks like it's the 1960s. What I'm kind of thinking is that they did this because they created their own lifestyle on the spaceship, and basically, as we know, the character of Dave makes it to Jupiter, gets out of the spaceship, goes into like this room, and he sees himself like all these different ages. He finally sees himself as an old man, and then he randomly gets turned into a baby. Now, what I'm thinking is happening here is basically this is the human population starting over. They're starting over, and they're going to Earth, which is going to be their new home, and that's what they're showing here, is that Earth is going to be their new home. Earth is where they're going to live, and that's all there is to it. Earth is where they're going to live, and yeah, definitely, that's what they're trying to say. Yes, it does seem a little bit confusing, especially when you see things like the computers, but the thing is, I think what happened was they created this futuristic world on a spaceship, and basically, it's kind of like the dawn of mankind on Earth. Not necessarily the dawn of mankind in general, because for all we know, there could be something out there. There could be something up in space. Nobody knows. There could be humans up in space, Everyone suspects that there were cavemen when they first came to Earth, but Kubrick did it in a different way. What Kubrick decided to do was he decided to tell us, no, that's not what I think, and I think this is really cool what Kubrick thought, He thought, this is not true. What actually happened was people went up in space, and then they went to Earth, and that's actually really cool, because I don't think, there are really a lot of scientific theories about how the dawn of mankind started, and I think this is actually the most interesting one in my opinion. I think definitely that is very interesting, and just the way they end the movie is so well done. That last shot of Dave as a baby is just so memorable, and it's just like, after that I was like, okay, this movie's really, really good now. And that's what made me really love the movie, was when Stanley Kubrick decided to do that. Definitely, that was really cool, the way he did that. So overall, I really enjoyed 2001: Space Odyssey. It was a little boring at times. It was not a masterpiece in my opinion, but it is a very good movie, and I do agree that yes, it is the best sci-fi movie I've seen. It is the best sci-fi movie because of the way the movie ends, because of the effects for its time, which is what made me really love this movie. I do love this movie. Don't think I don't love this movie. I do. I just think some of the parts in the beginning were a little bit boring. Like the scenes before Hal was introduced, that's when the movie was a little bit boring for me. If Hal would have been introduced a little bit later on, I would have liked the movie more. But, yeah, so that's basically it for my review of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw of this movie. Unfortunately, guys, I do have to tell you guys some sad news. We are now down to the final 4 movies I need to watch for my classic movie reviews. Now, you guys are probably saying, why are you ending it so soon? I'm doing this because I have not seen, because of me reviewing so many classic movies to you guys, I've not gotten a chance to see many movies from this year. Yes, I've seen movies in theaters, but I want to see more movies that came out on DVD. There were movies that I was like, I want to get this on Blu-ray, but I didn't because I had to review classic movies to you guys. Now, don't think that I didn't love doing this. I loved reviewing classic movies to you guys. I do. But unfortunately, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, my classic movies are going to be stopping Sunday. Sunday is going to be the last day I review classic movie. And it's not the end. I do have a surprise for you guys in that video. You guys are definitely going to want to check that out. I'm not telling you guys what it has to do with, but it might not necessarily be the end of classic movies for this year. I'm just going to say that. But I just want to tell you guys this because there's only going to be 4 more classic movie reviews. But don't worry, there are 4 really good movies that I got. The 4 movies I'm going to review, you guys are all going to love. There are 4 really classic movies. 4 movies that I really want to see for a very long time, and I really hope you guys enjoy them. So yeah, I just want to say that because I didn't want you guys to, I want you guys to know that. But that's basically it for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be obviously another classic movie review. So I'll see you guys for that. By the way, I'm not watching Girl Meets World live tonight, guys, so my review for that probably won't be up till tomorrow. So yeah, just so you guys know. So if you're wondering why it's not up tonight, it's because I'm not watching it live, because I want to watch this other movie tonight. So yeah, I'm rambling, but yeah, bye.